Okay, let's see if we are up and running. Looks like I'm leaning sideways here, sorry. All right, so let's give a moment or two for a couple of people to jump on with us. And while we're waiting, I'll introduce myself. My name is Kimberly. I am with Unique Finds and Furniture Designs, and we are here in Kernersville, North Carolina. And we welcome you. If this is the first time you have found us and you're stumbling around Facebook and you see our live, thank you for jumping in with us. Here we do lots of 101 projects, and I'm working on this Bombay Chest. And I try to bring tips and trips along the way as to how to use the different products that I use. I am a premier retailer for Dixie Belle Chalk Paint, so I do obviously use and feature their products in our broadcast, as well as other products that tend to work for whatever we're doing. So in tonight, we are going to go over some of the things that I did to this piece, and then we're going to jump right in and do some work. So this piece is a mixed color now. I did take our, by Dixie Belle, I have the mermaid tail, and I have very little in here. And I also have the sea glass. So you can see that color, and then you can see this color. So what I've done is I've come in and I've combined in the two colors and kind of gave myself a unique blue hue. And so I love sea glass. It's a very beautiful color. We've had a hurricane out there off the coast of North Carolina come up through the Florida area and up through North Carolina, and so I started thinking mermaid tail and sea glass. It just kind of made me feel back toward the beach and that sort of thing. So that's the colors that I've chose, and that's the color that you see here. On the top here is drop cloth, and I don't have it over here with me, but it is the drop cloth as well as our stripes or drop cloth. So that's the color contrast that I used on this piece. So if you're interested in those colors. Also, along this rail area here, I did put this on, and I used the, which I'm featuring tonight in our workshop, is the Moonshine Metallic in Gold Digger. And this is one of Dixie Belle's metallics. They really jazz a piece up. Or in, what is it, Emerald Gossi, who says, I think it might be him, that kick it up a notch. So we're going to kick it up a notch with a few things. And I will show you the other side, but we're going to do what I did to the other side tonight in this live. So, and I'm also using our ReDesign with Prima Transfer in the I almost said it wrong, I almost said Cosmic Roses, but that is not what this one is. This is the Rose Celebration. So I did have this. This actually comes in 6 sheets. So I had multiple sheets that I did not use on a previous project, so I'm going to incorporate some of that into this project. So we're going to go over all of that tonight. And I also have Dixie Belle's Gilding Wax in Warm Gold. Those of you may know, may have been following us all along, may already know that Dixie Belle is revamping and changing the formula of their gilding waxes. So I did use this on this piece as well. So there's a couple of ways you can pull off this gold rim here, and I'll pull it a little bit so you can just kind of see this front here. Now bring it in and over. Sorry if I bobble you. So you can kind of see where we're going with the gilding wax there. And so I'm working on this piece, and I'm going to come in on this. This that you see here on this is Would You Bend, actually. So I did add some Would You Bend to this piece. You see a little bit of it on the front, as well as embellishing along the sides, because it didn't have any thing that really stood out on this little chest. So I just kind of added some things of my own. So I'm going to kind of tilt you all down here, hopefully. Get you all here with me. There we go. So you can kind of get a little bit of a layout of what we're doing here. So I did come in and put some of the transfer on a little bit. You can see here. This here on the front, however, is not a transfer. It's more of a silk screen that I did and used to get the lettering on. But you see I've saved some of these areas to do with you guys live because I had done the rest already earlier today. So if you're with me, let me know so I can welcome you. Thank you for joining us. I know it's been a beautiful day today to be able to get out and do some things, but working on this piece, wanted to kick her up a notch, add a little pizzazz to it, and so I wanted to come live with you guys and show you guys what I'm doing. So I do have my baby wipes handy, and I have my Moonshine Metallic and Gold Digger. You can use rosé, different colors. It just depends on your color coordination that you're going, obviously, with your pieces. So it's really, the sky's the limit to you guys and what you want to achieve and what your art style is. So first, what I'm going to do tonight is just kind of come in here and do a transfer. So I had some of these pieces that were left over from my Rose Celebration. So that's the whole back of it. That's the entire transfer there. Obviously, this is a small piece. Hey, Donna, hope you're doing well. So it's a small piece, and you see what I'm doing here. I'm just kicking this little piece up a notch. It's a beautiful little Bombay Chest, and I've kind of wanted to do one of these for quite a while and finally found one, and so here we are. So I've got a couple of these pieces of this transfer, and I'm just going to incorporate them into my piece here. So I've already kind of cut. What I do is I come in, I have a pair of scissors here. I don't like that little area there, but I'll fix it. I come in and I cut out of the transfer what I want to use, so I'm not working with such a large sheet, if that makes any sense. Since this comes in 3 different sheets, I cut it up the way I need it. So that's what I'm going to work on tonight, and I'm going to show you guys how I apply these. I don't know if you've ever used any of these or not. It is kind of a rubby-dub-dub kind of thing, and let's see, what do I have here? It comes with a little wooden tool that looks like this, but I broke it, so because you have to rub that hard. So I also have with me, I thought I had it here with me, and let me see, what did I do with it? I picked it up, and so what I'm going to use actually is a wooden ruler, and let me just see if I can't find it. My scissors are here. Probably got it under me. Let me grab it real quick. I did set it down. And so I need to open the door. It's a little warm in here again already. We had a beautiful day this morning though, with that tropical storm going through. It did kind of cool things down. So I do just have a wooden ruler. So it's just a flat wooden ruler. You can get these anywhere probably. This was my daughter's, and I stole it because it works really well because it's a little thicker than the little stick that comes. It's a little thin stick that comes with your transfer. And so the hardest part is doing all that rubbing. If you're a painter like me, you wear your arm out. So I'm going to try to get you where you guys can see this. So I'm just going to kind of line up, since this is a square edge, as you can see, I've already kind of cut it out the way I want it so I can place it on my furniture. So if you look close, you can see it's not a perfect down here. I'm going to come in with a little brush and straighten that up. But I put these lines on also in case anybody's curious about that. I did use masking tape, and I did use the blue painter's tape to do that with. And I eyeballed it. I did not measure this any way, shape, or form, so it's eyeballed. That's just how I do my furniture. I think art is a lot of in the eye. It's just the art is in the eye of the beholder, right? Kind of like they say. So that's just kind of how I'm going to line this piece up tonight. And I'm going to kind of cut this a little bit more so that it's kind of a little bit, because this is bowed, obviously it has lots of curves in it, so it's not obviously a straight angle line. That's the great thing about, I think, with art. Most artists, we don't paint in a straight line, and there's a reason for that, and it's because art generally doesn't tend to have those lines. Don't really work with straight lines. So to me, this is just a piece of art. I'm just going to come in here, and I'm going to add this here, and then also I have another piece here which I will put on up here. But I don't want to bore you guys, but I do want to tell you these things take forever to rub on. So it is going to be a minute if you get bored here watching me do this, I understand that you need to go. Because when it comes to these kind of things, they do just take a little bit of time. It's nothing I can do about it. It just is part of the process. So, but you're welcome to talk to me while you're here. I appreciate you being on with me, Donna. Thank you for viewing with me tonight. So when you peel it off, see, obviously I peeled it off. So this is the transfer, and this is what the sheet that it was on. I call this like a Mylar sheet. So I pull that off, and then again, it's gonna come off of the other sheet that is on here. So see, it's on another sheet. So I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna place it where I want it. And then once I get this one on, I'm not gonna stay here all night on the same transfer. I'll do a transfer, and then we'll move over and do the gilding wax, as well as the necessarily want it up that high. So I'm going to do the gilding wax and the metallic, just kind of show you guys how since we are working on a curve here, trying to get this floral as low as I can get it without too much of that line coming through, which might be a little tricky. It looks like I need to trim it just a tad, like I said about those lines and angles and straight lines. So I'm just gonna trim off just a touch of that. So sometimes you just have to, and that's okay. So I'm just gonna come in here and try to trim that out of my way, so that it will fit my piece the way I want it. Sometimes it'll grab quicker than you can get it on or where you want it. And I might just go with that right there. So I'm just going to show you, this is trial and error when you're working with these transfers. I'm going to trim it a little bit more so that you see in the reel how these are getting put on. And like I said, you can see here at the very base. Let me pull you in or pull you down. Can you see better now? So right here at the very base, you can see where I got a little bit over, because I'm not a perfect, I can't paint a perfect line, but I'll come in with my little artist brush and I'll clean that up. So don't worry. If you're not perfect at it, you can clean it up. So I'm just gonna kind of get this, because this is curved, I'm just kind of working it in the center toward the edge to work out any bubbles, air bubbles that are under it, because they get under there. So it's imperfectly imperfect, and I won't worry about it. I'm just gonna try to get it in that curve, in the groove, because this is, I don't know if you can see how beveled this is, but it's pretty beveled. It comes out around. So now I'm gonna take my little handy dandy tool here, and I'm gonna rub for my life. And it kind of is nice to have a little bit longer ruler than this little stick that I had here, which might have been 6 inches, and I broke it because that's how hard you gotta rub. So I'm just gonna do this one, and then I'm gonna move on and show you guys some gilding wax. I'm going to show gilding wax because there's 2 ways to do this here. You can do it with gilding wax, or you can do it with the moonshine metallic. So I did it both ways on the front, and I'm just wanting to show that to you so you will know how to use these products as well. If you're a newbie and you haven't been doing this a lot and you want to do something really nice or do something different, turn your work up a notch. If you are furniture artist like myself, this is kind of a way to just add a little extra elements to your pieces. I think my daughter and husband are about to leave. Y'all heading out? All right, y'all be careful. You got your phone? Okay. Jump for that coyote. saw a humongous coyote out there today. So I'm just gonna rub, and you gotta kind of find an area, and I'll move on so that you guys don't feel like you have to be here all night, but it would be easier for you to see how this goes on, what happens when you do it. And I tried to save my arm because I paint a lot, so my right arm is like, it's wore out. So I'm gonna get in here. You do have to put some elbow grease into these. That's why I'm saying I'm using this. We actually have a tool for this, and I have used it a couple of times. The only thing I didn't like about the tool for me is it felt like it was scratching my paint underneath, and I really don't want my paint scratched underneath. So, and it could have just been me and the technique because I'm used to using one of these. So what you do is you try to wedge your fingernail or something underneath that Mylar when you feel that your transfer is starting to come off of the Mylar, because that's the point. The point is to rub it hard enough that it starts letting up, jumping onto your paint and off of your paper. So you see it's on a Mylar, it's super thin, and I just kind of come in here and I work my finger around the edge. And see how I'm starting to get it to come? You can see where it's starting to stay now onto my piece. So I was trying to use my left hand instead of my right because I'm trying to save it so that I can do more painting, and it never works that way. I always end up going back. But I've been doing a lot of weed eating lately, and that vibration just kills my arm. I know if you ladies have that carpal tunnel or tendonitis or whatever it's called, I got it. And I've had it for a while, and it really affects you when you paint a lot. So I'm gonna come in here, just kind of rub around the edge, make sure my transfer is sticking to my paint. Now this paint, I did paint this on, I painted the stripes on this afternoon, so it's only had since this afternoon. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend putting a transfer on that the paint hasn't had a chance to set up and cure a little bit. It's been rather warm, so the cure time's a little bit quicker right now than it's going to be when it cools down. So it's been several hours. I'd say it's been 4, probably longer than that, 6 hours maybe, since I was out here messing with it earlier, because I did the other side. So I just wanted to kind of show you guys how you rub these transfers on. You do have to use a little bit, but a lot of these transfers go a long way. You don't have to put them on exactly the way they are in the box. You know, that's your art, so you know what your mind tells you versus what the box or the little piece that it comes in. You know, make it your own. That's what I always say with my furniture. I always try to just kind of make it my own, and just makes it a little bit different when you add these other elements to it. So I'm going to keep on rubbing here. And I apologize, I'm not looking right at y'all right at the moment because it's coming about to get her on. So in the length of time that we've been on here, this is about how long, and you can see I'm bending my ruler pretty good because you got to apply quite a bit of pressure when you're applying these. And so I'm right here at the very edge. So there's how it goes on. That's what it looks like on. So that's what I got. But I always take my Mylar, I call it Mylar, I think that's what it is, and I lay it back on, and I just kind of come over the whole thing again. Now that I got it in place where I want it, and just kind of solidify all around the edges. This is probably why my arm hurts. You can see how I'm bending the ruler. Because you really want to rub very hard because that helps it adhere to the paint. And the other thing is, I never put a top coat on my paint before I apply it. I never sand it. It's very, you can hear it. You can hear it's chalky. I'll knock that chalk down after all of this is over, and I'll smooth it up and make it nice and smooth. You can hear that. Hear that going across there? When I finish, I lightly sand all of my pieces, and then it's just smooth as baby's bottom. So that's kind of a trick if you want nice. Not everything has to be chalky because you use chalk paint. It's like that when it's cured and dry. Then you knock that rough part down, and it's super soft. Doesn't change the tone of your paint, and then you can apply wax if you like, or you don't really have to seal our chalk paint for any reason, but I will seal it because I have this transfer on here. You can see how that just kicked it up a whole nother element by adding that transfer on there. So that's exactly how I do it. That's how they go on, and we will move on so that we can move on to a little another step for you guys, because I know your time is valuable, and nobody wants to sit here and watch somebody do this all night. I can do the rest on my own. So we're just gonna let that sit. Obviously, I'm gonna probably put another piece, like I told you, that I cut out, and I will probably bring that in over here and kind of join the two of those together. But that'll be at a different time where you're not having to sit here and be bored out of your mind. So I'm gonna try and pull this bad boy around. She's a little heavy, very heavy. It's either heavy or I'm weak, one. So here now you can see kind of what I'm doing to her. So this, I did apply the gilding wax like I was saying. There's two ways to get this, and I'm gonna switch sides with you since I'm right-handed, I'm not left-handed. So I'm gonna, on this embellishment here and on the handle, I left so that I could show you guys, and I also left, this is the wood you bend. It has been heated, and I adhered it to my piece prior to painting, obviously. And so now I'm going to show you how I applied the gilding wax to sort of make the wood you bend pop out and all that fun jazz. But I am going to rotate you guys, or rotate myself, because I cannot work with my left hand. And I'm going to let that one get this all ready. And I've got a little art brush here that I use to apply my Moonshine Metallic. And I did paint the top in the buttercream as well, you guys, if you're wondering what color that is up there. And let me move all this out of my way. And now I will upload this video onto our YouTube channel too. If you're new here and you haven't and aren't aware that we have the YouTube channel, I just thought I would let you know. We do. It's under, what is it under? It's under the Vintage Queen on the YouTube channel. So I'm gonna come here. You see I've got the piece behind me. I got it covered because sometimes I make a mess in here and I don't want it, as a piece I finished last week, and I don't want it to get messed up while I'm working on these pieces. So first we're gonna use the warm gold gilding wax. So Dixie Belle, like I said, is changing our formula on this. So it'll be a little different, and you can see mine's well loved all the way down to the center. And then now I'm rubbing from the sides. So if you have a piece of furniture and you just want to kind of hit on the high notes, of your piece, I will, that's why I have my baby wipes here. If you get gilding wax on your, on your paint, you can wipe that back off with your baby wipe. And I'm going to just kind of pull it this way so you guys can kind of see what I'm going to be working on. And then I'm going to show you the metallic as we go. So I'm going to use my brush for my metallic, but I'm only going to use my finger for applying my gilding wax. So I'm going to find one that doesn't have a long fingernail, which none of my fingernails are very long. So I'm just going to grab my ring finger here, and I'm just kind of putting it in and getting a little bit of gilding wax on my finger. And I'm just going to hit the high notes. Let's get this loosened up a little bit. This is well loved. This is one of my favorites, the warm gold. Maybe you guys can see that. Let's bring it in so you can see. You don't need to see me, you just need to see what I'm doing here. So here along this embellishment, this was added. I added it to this piece. I added this on here and these pieces as well to just kind of jazz up this piece, because these Bombay Chest just have such gorgeous curves to them. I just feel like they needed to be definitely a lady's piece, in my opinion. So you can see how that warm gold is kind of coming in there. It's kind of jazzing it up there. and you can see. So if you got a piece of furniture that you want to do light like this, you can use your gilding wax for. You could use the whole thing, just the gilding wax, and that's perfectly fine. Now like I said, we are changing the formula to the gilding wax right now. So I don't even think you can get these anymore. You can in my locations, because I still have quite a few of the original gilding waxes. So if you're interested in those, they're not going to be around long. Once they're gone, because Dixie Belle is making new formula. So we have several beautiful colors. I still have several. I've got hammered copper, I've got the black, I've got the warm gold. I know I'm pretty sure I have the turquoise. I have several different ones. So that's the gilding wax, and that's how you apply it. So yes, I know it seems like I'm going fast. I just hate to bore anybody. So now I'm just taking my baby wipe. If you get gilding wax on your piece, you could just wipe it back off with your baby wipe. Again, that's why the baby wipes. One thing I will say, your paint needs to be set up and relatively cured, because you can, obviously it's water-based paint, you could pull it back off if it's not cured completely. So even though you might want to be in a hurry to get out there and get the stuff on, putting the gilding wax and stuff on, that's not a problem. But when you go to wipe it back off, there's might be your little bit of an issue there if you pull off your paint. So now I'm going to go to the Moonshine Metallic. So this is also a Dixie Belle product, and we have several different ones. Wedding bells, we have rosé, several different ones. Deep woods, wedding bells, deep woods. We have Pacific, Caribbean. We have several different ones, and they're all beautiful. So now I'm going to use it, and I'm going to use, I put a little bit of my Moonshine Metallic right now on my brush. So I'm just going to kind of do it lightly, and I'm going to do this with my brush now. And I'm just going to come in. I've got my brush sort of on its side, because on its side it's going to hit the high notes and not necessarily inside my piece. So there's two ways you can add your gold or the look to your piece. Maybe you guys can see that. Maybe, if I can get you in closer. And I'm just going to tilt you down so you can see. So I'm just taking my brush, I'm dipping it in, and I'm just kind of running it along the side. So I've got it on its side and just kind of touching the high notes. Yes, when it comes to doing furniture art, sometimes it's slow because you are using a brush. You are coming in and adding those elements by kicking it up a little notch. It just depends on the kind of furniture you like to do, whether you're in a hurry and you're just painting something to move it, or something that means a little bit more to you and you're putting a little more time and effort into it for a loved one, or as a gift or something of that nature. So this is the Moonshine Metallic, and what I always say is put you a layer on and then come back in, and you can darken it up. Like in here, this is just one layer. So and another thing is, I always say when you put your metallics on, so that's going right over the blue. Always try to go in the same direction when you're putting your metallic on. So you see how it just, this is one coat and this is the second coat. So you can see how you can build those layers. So with the metallics, you can build your metallics to the level you need them to be at, or what's pleasing to you, depending on your project. And you can go light or you can go heavy. And what I do is just put it on first, get the look I want, and then I come back in and just kind of build on those layers, if that makes any sense to you guys. So that's kind of what I'm working on tonight. I wanted to come in here and show you guys how you can just kind of kick it up a notch with your pieces by adding different colors to create your own color. which is what I've done on this piece. I definitely just blended 2 different colors together to get the look I wanted. And believe it or not, underneath I even have some white under there. So if you came in and you wanted to distress after you do all of this and just distress around the edges, it would show the white coming out. And you can distress in multiple ways. You can come in here with a wet cloth and knock it back, or you can kind of sand it back. It just depends on your preference there. So you can wet distress or dry distress. So there's so many different ways. There's no right way or wrong way. Each artist is a little bit different and prefer to do their work one way or another. I prefer to just kind of get in here and wing it, which is what I've done with this piece. I just wanted it to have a little different look to it than what I got it. And you guys will see the beginning and to where we're at today. And I'm going to work right here. I know it's on the lower side, but I think you will be able to see. So I'm going to work right here using Moonshine Metallics. Well, let's just put the gilding wax on too, just to show. Because you can do both. It's not going to hurt it to put your gilding wax on, and it'll show you. It just, with the Moonshine Metallics, it just gives it, kicks it up a notch, I guess, if you will. If you want a more subtle, kind of vague, subtle look, you can do it with your, with the gilding wax. Or, and I'm going to drop you all down, because it seems like you're pretty far away up there. So let me see if this will help y'all. Let's just lower you on down here. There you go. Maybe that's a little bit better and your viewing will be better. So that's just the gilding wax that I've rubbed on with my finger. I feel like I have more control if I use my finger than if I am using a brush. So it just seems like to me that there's better control in the movement than to use a brush with this. So you can come in here and you can just kind of lay some gilding wax on here and just kind of do that number. But I'm going to add my metallic because I like that more of a rich vintage look on this one. So I'm using my metallics for that. So again, this is the Gold Digger, Moonshine Metallic in Gold Digger. And I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to turn my brush on its side. So I'm hitting the high notes, or the high edges, if you will. So this is just art. This is my way of playing. I play in my furniture. And some pieces are just a little bit different than others. So again, I've just got my brush on its side, just kind of letting it do its thing. And on the other, I came in and I painted a lot more on there than I'm doing on this one. So I'll just come in and add. Just gives it a whole new element. It really vintages out the piece. So this really makes it kind of a unique piece of furniture when you do this. So I did paint all in this, all in the medallions. Those are obviously weren't original to this piece, but they are to it now, if you will. So when I get a piece, I just try to look at it from an art perspective, I guess. And so that's how I add it on. I know there's no use in keeping you guys all night, but I just want to jump on and give you a couple of tidbit information on how to apply some of these products. Let me raise y'all back to where you were after I hopefully don't make you all so sick. And let me see if I can lock you in. So, yep, I am just going to continue working on this piece. You guys can kind of see where I'm at, what I'm doing on the side. And we will probably showcase this closer to the end of the week as we go along, as I'm about to jump on to another project as well. So I just want to thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you for taking the time to jump on with us. And hopefully we were able to help you with some of the products if you've never tried them, just to get out there and get some experience doing them. It's really fun. It really kicks up your piece a notch. So hope everyone has a blessed evening. Look forward to seeing you again later in the week. Thanks so much. Bye-bye, guys.